Hello everyone, welcome back to another Doctor Who figure related video. Yes, it is that time of year again where we get the message from the B&M gods that we must return to do our B&M pilgrimage to get our Doctor Who figures. Yes, we have the first wave of Doctor Who B&M figures announced, which are coming in the next couple of weeks, which are the History of the Daleks set 18, Resurrection of the Daleks. Yes, that proves that the numbering system is a bit out the window. And then we have the Emperor Davros, a highly desirable figure back out there for people to enjoy. So the way this is going to work is we're going to take a look at each set individually, give you my thoughts, and then I'll do a breakdown on what character I've done to create these figures, as it were, and sort of the differences from the OG figures. So without further ado, let's dive in to the actual sets themselves. The first set I'm going to talk about is I guess the one people are most excited for, and that is the Emperor Davros figure. So this figure was initially released in 2012 with the destroyed Imperial Dalek, and it was one of the last sort of regular Forbidden Planet exclusive releases, and that retailed for £26.99, and I believe that this Davros is going to be priced at £12.99, so quite a steal. So in terms of the actual figure, like I say, this is one of the rarest figures in the classic Doctor Who lineup. And it was believed that the mould was lost, but recently they discovered the mould, and here we are able to enjoy it. It's a big solid lump of plastic. It's basically a rotocast figure with only one bit of movement, which is the sort of lid to reveal Davros, as it were. Looking at the box, we've got the nice sort of card insert, which Alduar likes, which is a bit of a shame with this sort of packaging design, that if you're not going to keep it in the box, you're going to absolutely destroy it, because obviously it's sort of glued to that insert, which is a little bit of a shame, but I guess it's a nice little display piece if you want to keep it mint on card. But yeah, in terms of the actual figure, I believe that there are just minor paint differences within it. I feel like they've improved the actual skin tone of Davros. Obviously I will compare it to the original once we talk about the Ressurection set, but yeah, it's great to see this figure back in the line, and we'll take a closer look at that now. Emperor Davros on the bridge. So here we have our first figure we're going to take a look at. So this is just a hunch here. I think character are going to use the same sort of colour palette as they did on the Cold Hill School Imperial Dalek, with a sort of more vibrant gold and sort of the more sort of, I guess, ivory colour in the white colour scheme. But if we take a look at Emperor Davros himself, here he is. It's Mr. Davros. So yeah, this figure, like I say, highly desirable, but in terms of differences, you can notice straight off the paint apps on the head sculpt. I believe that the head sculpt on the B&M version is much more accurate in terms of the skin tone, but it's more pale, and so this is using the traditional Terry Malloy sort of paint apps. Same with the wiring. The wiring is more accurate on the B&M version, instead of sort of this red and sort of yellowy orange wire. They're sort of both red wires on the B&M version, which is more accurate. I will say, in terms of the paint apps on the head sculpt on the B&M version, it looks like Davros has been drinking oil. I know that Davros has got sort of quite sort of a disgusting mouth in Resurrection, so in Remembrance of the Daleks. There's a lot of R's in 80s Doctor Who Dalek stories. But yeah, it seems like they went a little bit overboard with the sort of black wash on the sort of mouth section. As you can see, also the paint differences on the wires, but like I say, that's only the real differences we're gonna get with this figure, because it's just a pretty static figure. So just a little few minor tweaks with the paint decals. I will say, watch for quality control with this, because obviously this figure being sort of a white figure, it does show the scuff marks pretty easily, so the quality control might be a little bit sus in places. So yeah, check quality control if you want to get a pretty good looking Emperor Davros figure. But yeah, that's Emperor Davros. On to our final set, History of the Daleks set 18, Resurrection of the Daleks. So yeah, the numbering system, it's all a bit messed up, isn't it? So this last year caused a bit of a stir online, because it seemed like we jumped Resurrection of the Daleks, because we had the 5 Doctors and Revelation of the Daleks, and you might think, well, maybe they were doing the same of what they did with 2021's History of the Daleks set, with sort of mixing sort of Power of the Daleks and Dare of the Daleks together, and then doing Evil of the Daleks and Planet of the Daleks. but no, we just sort of skipped over it and then we moved straight into the new series. So yeah, interesting choice. And there was talk originally that this was going to be like a 4-pack, but it seems that they sort of cut it down to a 2-pack. Who knows, we might get a Resurrection of the Dalek set part 2, with sort of the drone Dalek with like a flip-up dome where you can have sort of Davros sort of testing his sort of Magellan cure, I guess. But in terms of the actual figures, I think that this set is pretty neat, just going off the images, because we have one of the highly desirable figures, which is the Dalek Supreme, what was released in, I think, sort of February 2011, in the sort of 4-pack with Peter Davison, Terry Malloy's Davros, and of course a drone Dalek. So yeah, this seems like a good little set. I believe that this set is supposedly meant to have like a variant version, much like the 5 Doctor set with the Cyber Leader and Cyberman, but instead I believe the drone Dalek is supposedly meant to have different slats and possibly orange dome lights, I believe. So good for army builders. But it seems like we've got this nice sort of glossy finish to the Daleks, which I believe is accurate to how they were in the story. And looking off the pictures, it seems like the main base for the Supreme Dalek is the revelation of the Daleks. Necros Dalek, we've got the extended neckbin section, which is great to see that included, and we even have the little attention to detail of the little flipper poking out, which I thought was a great little addition on the Death Zone Dalek, which is very striking against this sort of more muted sort of grey colour. So that nice little pop of red is really going to stand out, and I love that we've got this sort of scuffing back of the skirt section, because I just love that sort of, give it that nice sort of tank feeling to it. But I will say about the Supreme Dalek, just going off the promotional images here, that the hemispheres on it look like a sort of greyish colour, like a grey-white colour. Hopefully in person they are sort of white. We'll just have to wait and see for that. I think, yeah, it's a good set. Resurrection of the Daleks. So these are the Resurrection of the Daleks we've got. So we've got the Toys R Us twin pack, then we have the 2 Food and Planet ones from 2011. So if we take a look at the Supreme Dalek, so here is the FP one. I believe what they've done is they've just repainted the Necros B&M Dalek, because just looking at the oval section, this has got more of a traditional sort of 1970s Dalek oval, where the new B&M version, in terms of the Supreme, looks like it has the sort of more elongated oval section, and of course it has the extended neckbin section there. And if we move to the drone, of course the drones are quite interesting, and I believe that this is going to be the sort of running change and sort of variant within these sets is obviously the dome lights. But again, I think the drone mainly uses this sort of 70s Dalek body with the sort of the neckbin section upwards, using the Revelation, because it has the same sort of eye stalk, I believe, and the dome light. So yeah, that's sort of the differences with these Daleks. Really not too much to say about it, but I think it's an amalgamation of sort of the traditional 70s Dalek with the upper section of the new sort of Revelation Necros Dalek. So that is a little rundown on the Resurrection of the Dalek set, really. So there we go, that has been my little rundown of the first wave of Doctor Who B&M figure sets, the History of the Dalek set 18, Resurrection of the Daleks, and of course the Emperor Davros. So yeah, but I think the Emperor Davros is meant to be priced at £12, and the History of the Dalek set, the standard, I think £21. So I believe that they are dropping end of September, which I think the rumour date is September 23rd. So yeah, I think solid little wave. I think that obviously having 2 highly desirable figures like the Emperor Davros and the Resurrection Supreme Dalek, and of course a slight tweak of the Resurrection drone, which is a bit more accurate to it, because I think the Resurrection Daleks had this sort of off colour scheme where they were very bluey grey, which I don't think they were that blue grey. I think it's more accurate to, I think the accurate sort of 80s drone back in the day was the Revelation Scalrusian Dalek. But yeah, very very nice sort of set. I'm definitely intrigued by the next wave more than this wave, I will say. As somebody who has the OG figures, and they're nice little updates and tweaks, but I'm very curious to know what the parting of the way set is. Are we going to do the new Assault Dalek? Are we going to get a new Emperor Guard Dalek figure? Are we going to get the Dalek with a sentry arm? And what is this mysterious sort of figure pack with it, friends and foe. Which Doctor is it? Which friend, which foe are we going to get? It'd be very interesting to know what those sets are, but I guess we'll find out probably October, November time, because that's when they normally drop the later wave. But yeah, this is a September wave, pretty solid stuff, and I wish you happy hunting if you're after these sets, and good luck. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe for plenty more figure related content coming up in the near future, such as reviews of these B&M sets as well. So without further ado, thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.